Previously on Nervolution Podcast.
I
Which
don't
is
like that
funny
at all.
because I started building a family tree inside my head like while we were talking, and almost every major X-Men person is related somehow.
Yes.
Like, okay, yeah, there's the technicality of Apocalypse. Everybody's connected through Apocalypse. That's not what I mean. So think about it like this, okay? You have the Summers brothers. Scott, Jean, and Jean are married.
Correct.
Technically, would you consider Jean the biological mother, or would you consider Madeline Pryor the biological mother of Cable?
I would say the clone would be
Okay.
the biological.
Okay.
Because technically, Jean got killed way before she was able to even conceive. So.
Exactly. So therefore, but I'm gonna say it's still Jean because it's her DNA.
Okay.
But think with my logic real quick. Okay. You have Madeline Pryor, aka
Yes.
Jean, who believes she is the true Jean, like how in the X-Men '97 said that.
Yes.
Okay. Then you have Cable. Cable's godfather is Deadpool. He's a mutate. But then you have Havoc, Scott's younger brother. He is married to Polaris, who is the daughter of Magneto, the sister of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Okay. Then
and Cable is Cyclops' son.
Exactly. Then, okay, you have Magneto, who is best friends with Charles. Okay, so obviously. Then you have at the same exact time, Magneto and Raven, Mystique. Depending on which story you want to believe, if you want to go the new one where Mystique's his father of Nightcrawler, okay, but the original canon was that she was his mother.
Correct.
So there you got Magneto, and there's even the hints where turns out Magneto is the father of Nightcrawler. So therefore, Magneto is Scott is the brother-in-law to Polaris, while she's also technically, like I said, depending on what you want to see, she is the sister to Kurt, who is also the foster and adopted brother of Rogue, who is married to Gambit. And Gambit, depending on which issue you read, is a clone of Mr. Sinister and Cyclops himself.
Correct. 100%.
And then it turns out, actually, from what my dad was telling me, they made hints about it in the 80s and 90s. Bishop is actually the son of Gambit and Rogue.
That does not surprise me, yeah.
So they're all connected somehow in family tree-wise. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Nerdvolution podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Lancaster, with my co-host, Drew Kirksky. And this is part 2 of our pros and cons of the X-Men series. Well, let's just say pros and cons of the X-Men in general. Sorry that we broke it up into 2 parts. There's just a lot to go through. And this was actually an idea by Drew himself. And we had so much fun talking about it again last time, which was just yesterday. So again, if you have not watched, we talked a bit about the X-Men and a bit of lore and history and theories. But if not, and you want to learn more or hear more, obviously, go back and rewatch. But how are you today, Drew?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, what are some pros and cons that or I should say, some pros that you can think of for the X-Men?
Some pros about the X-Men. Well, my personal opinion, from what I've seen from the comic books and read, and generally from the movies, is they make outsiders feel more welcome in their environment.
Yeah. Want to elaborate?
Well, like the people when they first learn of their abilities, they feel scared. They feel rejected from society. And just knowing that there's a group out there that's just like them that will welcome them with open arms is just it's just great.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't agree anymore. And honestly, in my opinion, like I said, I had a list, like literally, like what the very top of my list. They face actual issues that are in modern day, in right now, that they face. Like they face actual issues such as racism, discrimination, prejudice, bigotry, uh, marginalized communities, meaning like segregated communities, and their civil rights, which is like a big issue in our world. And the mutants, it's not just X-Men, it's mutant kind. They face those issues on a daily, but yet they still choose to save people who discriminate against them.
Yes,
They choose to save those people. And I honestly, I love that story because it doesn't mean just, oh, look, X-Men are just for me or, just for you. It's for everybody. Everybody in the world can enjoy the X-Men.
definitely.
What are some cons that you can think of?
Well, let's take Magneto for example. He doesn't always agree with what Charles has. He has the what is his team
The
called? The
the
Legion
Brotherhood of
of Evil.
Mutants.
Yeah, Brotherhood of Mutants. Some of the powers that the certain mutants have, they don't. They're not always out there to protect us like Charles had wanted it to be. So, depending on who it is and who you're being influenced by, really amounts to who you become in the storyline.
Well, that's true to an extent, but I also don't agree with that. Because think about it like this.
Okay.
Okay, just hear me out though. Okay, you said that who you're influenced by or grew up with, like sort of, is who basically, as you, in my own words, from what I'm gathering, is that's who you're destined to become, right? Is that what you basically were meaning?
That's who you're influenced to become, but doesn't mean you will become it because it's personally still your own choice.
True. So, because think about it like this, okay? Mystique, she basically raised Rogue, and
True.
Rogue, yeah, okay, Rogue did a few questionable things, like draining Miss Marvel's powers. And when we say Miss Marvel, we mean Carol Danvers. We're not talking
Yes.
about Kamala Khan. We're talking about the original Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers. Rogue drained her power, but realized eventually, oh crap, I did something wrong. I need to atone for it. I need to make amends. Let me become a good guy. Because yes, you have Mystique, who is purely bad, influencing the one person's young mind, and yet she still chose good. Then you have Gambit, another example. He all he's ever known is to be a thief, be a killer, be you know, because think about it like this. He was married to the leader of the Assassins Guild to make peace between the thieves and the assassins. And then he got hired to kill one of the X-Men, but it was thanks to Storm. Even though he was influenced by the thieves, no mutants involved. The only mutant involved was him. he was influenced by the thieves and the assassins, thinking that is the way of life. But then you have Storm who convinces him to change his stars, change his spots, become a better person than what he was raised and what he thought. And when he realized, he helped a young version of Storm, because she got transformed into a kid, he realized I am much more than a thief. I am much more than, a criminal. I can become a hero. I can use my gifts for good. So he became a good guy. He became a hero. Is he always on the X-Men? No. Is he always doing questionable things? Yeah. But that's, just part of Gambit's charm and, part of Gambit's, fun. But again, it doesn't mean you're influenced by, okay, another example from the movies. We'll go movie stuff. Mystique was influenced by Charles to be a good guy, but yet she still became bad.
True.
Magneto, Eric, he was always influenced by Charles also to be a good guy. He became bad. But yes, Eric wanted revenge on Shaw. But even then, take the revenge part of the story out. He still became bad. Pyro, he was influenced by Charles. He was a good guy for a little bit. But then once Magneto made his speech of, well, we are mutants. We're gonna be the first. We were technically the first ones here. We're gonna be the last here. This is our home. We need to wipe out all of humanity. Pyro was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna join you. It's like, so he went from being a good guy to being a bad guy, even though he was influenced by Charles first.
But is it technically being a bad guy, or is it just your point of view of the situation?
Fair enough. Okay, let me correct that. Not calling them bad guys. Misunderstood.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
I'm just saying bad guys because think about it. Like, it's ingrained in our thoughts from reading the comics, from watching the movies, to watching the shows. They were always the bad guys. Because why? We're seeing
Yes.
it from the hero's point of view. Like, one of my favorite teachers, her name was Miss Nichols. She actually said, okay, history is not written by the losers. Okay, it's always written by the winners. So take it as how this would proceed. The shows, the movies, the comics. It is not written by the bad guys. It is not written by people like, you don't ever hear what made Skeletor Skeletor. You don't hear what made, like, okay, yeah, you hear because, concentration camp, Germany, World War II made Hitler, or not Hitler, made Eric into Magneto. But let's be
Yes.
honest, when you think World War II in comics, do you think Magneto or do you think Captain America?
First thing that comes to my mind is Captain America,
Why?
because he's the hero.
Exactly my point. Like, now if I was to tell you, okay, mutants, mutant rights, who's the person that first comes to your mind? Captain America fighting to help out mutant rights, or Magneto?
Magneto and Cyclops both come to mind.
Exactly. Because Magneto, yes, what he is doing is right because he's wanting to improve mutant rights. And Cyclops is wanting the same thing, except for they're on opposite sides. Cyclops wants to live with humanity and be with humanity as mutants. There's Magneto, who wants just humans to be wiped out so mutants could be superior. So
Totally.
therefore, as we've always perceived it growing up, they're the bad guys. You don't hear their story. You don't know their story. So that's the issue.
You know
That's
what I
why.
would love to see a live action screening of?
What's that?
I would love to see a live action screening of House of M.
Ooh, technically they did that with WandaVision, but honestly, I think that would be cool too.
True, true.
But honestly, I think it'd be a lot better if it was an actual movie.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah. Oh, since we were also talking about, X-23 yesterday, I actually read this article today. Turns out the X-23 and Deadpool and Wolverine is actually the same one from Logan.
I did read that too. I saw that.
And I found that a little weird. But did you also read the one that came out where Hugh Jackman lost his world record for being the longest reigning superhero?
I did, yes.
He lost it to Wesley Snipes.
I still can't believe that.
Yeah, but
He'll probably get it back again in the next movie, though.
probably.
But now here's my question.
All right, go ahead.
So if the world was going to come to an end and you had to choose between teaming up with the Avengers to save the world or teaming up with the X-Men to save the world, but the twist was if you join the X-Men, they would turn you into a mutant. Which team would you choose? And those are the only two teams left in existence.
That is a
So
good question.
Fantastic Four's been killed off. Doctor Strange's been killed off. The only two that are
Damn.
still fighting are Avengers and X-Men. Who do you choose?
Okay, so what's the threat? Is it like something like, I don't know, like the Shatari from Avengers, the very first movie, or is it more like, hey, like the old man Logan storyline where basically everything has gone to shit and it's like a free for all?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is it so? It's the old man Logan storyline.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd try. I wouldn't. That's a hard question. I don't really know.
But yeah, if you chose the team X-Men, they would turn you into a mutant so you could be able to help them. But
That is fair.
you wouldn't know what power you would get. You wouldn't know your ability. You could turn into the next Toad.
Fair enough.
Or, I don't know, you could have invisibility, or you turn into another like mind reader. Or if you're with the Avengers, I don't know, maybe Tony Stark would make you a super suit. I don't know.
Right. So, but like, do you have any other pros and cons that you can think of?
I think some of the cons are that there are some people out there who on the X-Men who believe too deeply in humanity that sometimes there are some people out there who just can't be saved no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
And I feel like Charles, for example, he's always saying how we always have a choice and we have to save everyone. By doing that, you're going to endanger everyone else.
True.
That is the one thing I always see a downfall in. And I'm not saying you shouldn't try, but after a while,
You might as
if you
well
don't
just
get the results, yeah, go to the next person.
yeah. So one of the things that I've realized by re-going over the X-Men films and the X-Men comics and just the X-Men in general. So here's a few of the pros that I realized. I'll just name a couple, but then I'll go into it. So you know, the rich storytelling, all the different abilities, the evolution and adaptation, the iconic villains, and the influence in pop culture and the amazing artwork that stuff.
I
So,
agree. Yeah,
like the rich storytelling, like think about it. Okay, prime example. Old Man Logan is basically an X-Men story.
it is
So, and Matt, look at how amazing that story was told.
very well.
Exactly. And now look at it on the big screen as Logan. That was an amazing story.
It was. And then the small cameo he made in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Exactly. Then
That
you
one
also,
gave me chills, honestly.
oh yeah, it gave me chills too. Then you also have the factor along the lines of, again, even just looking at the artwork from that comic, it feels like you're there.
It does.
Like, oh, heck, like our, green screens that we're using. I don't know for you, but to me, it feels like I'm literally sitting outside in the woods doing this podcast with the Northern Lights behind me. Well, I mean, that's
I'm just
how,
floating in space.
yeah, exactly. Are you trying to find Cyclops' dad?
That's possible.
I mean, if you find Cyclops' dad, say what's up for me.
All right.
But again,
Hey man, I had a great idea. I just had a great idea.
what's that?
So after this podcast, we should take a quiz and see what X-Men we are most like, and we should put it at the end of the podcast for all our
You know
viewers
what?
to see.
I'll do it right now for both of us.
That'd be an amazing thing to
Okay,
do.
so the BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed, best
Okay.
quiz website.
Yep. What is your favorite film genre? Sci-fi, action, horror, comedy, rom-com, fantasy, crime, or drama?
I like sci-fi.
What is your greatest fear? Spiders, snakes, heights, flying, needles, failure, crowds, or rejection?
Rejection.
What could you not live without? TV, your phone, social media, internet, music, cake, alcohol, or cars?
Uh Probably social media.
Fair enough. Choose one word to describe yourself. Funny, brave, creative, honest, flexible, reliable, sociable, or ambitious.
See, I'm gonna let you answer that one
Honestly,
for me.
I find you funny, but I also find you very reliable. So I'm gonna hit reliable.
All right. All right. Sounds good.
Pick a TV show you would want to start in. Game of Thrones, Lucifer, Stranger Things, Riverdale, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Friends, Jane the Virgin, or House of Cards.
Lucifer.
Oh, I was surprised you didn't say Stranger Things. That's why I started laughing. What's your favorite color? Red, blue, yellow, pink, black, white, teal, or cyan?
We'll go with red.
Where would you like to live? Paris, London, Los Angeles, New York, Rome, Tokyo, Berlin, or South Africa?
We're going with New York.
Home of the mutants. Pick your favorite drink: gin and tonic, cider, coffee, tea, margarita, wine, soda, or juice.
We're going with juice.
All right. You are more like Wolverine.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice. All
Nice.
right. Now
All
it's your
right.
turn.
Yep, my turn. All right. I'd rather say that my favorite is actually action.
Okay.
My greatest fear is failure. I don't think I'd be able to live without my music. All right.
Fair.
Choose one word to describe me. Funny, brave, creative, honest, flexible, reliable, sociable, or ambitious.
Ooh. I would say you are very ambitious.
All right. Thank you. Pick a TV show. I agree with you on that. For Lucifer, my favorite color is red, and
Nice.
I'd want to live in Tokyo.
Live in Tokyo. Okay.
Yeah, and we will go with coffee for my drink. I am more like Magneto.
Oh, dang, man.
I'm gonna rip out your adamantium bones, buddy.
I mean, that was pretty fun.
That was. Ooh, which member of the
All right.
X-Men 97 lineup are you?
Ooh, yes.
We have to at least
Yes.
do
Okay.
both.
All right.
Okay. Oh, wait, what? Oh. Okay. Select the main color. Rainbow, orange, yellow, green, white, purple, blue, pink, or red.
We'll go yellow.
Okay. Choose your weapon. Get ready for some sparks. My mind, myself, these hands, nature, fear. The pen is mightier than the oh, fine. I'll toss you across the room. Whatever on deck, teamwork.
Get ready for some sparks.
All right, Mr. Jubilee. Team uniform or pick your own outfit?
What was that?
Team uniforms or pick your own outfit?
Pick my own outfit.
All right, give me one moment. My is about to die, so. All right. Pick a class to teach at Xavier's. No thanks. English, PE, drama, chemistry, ethics, philosophy, economics, or history.
History.
Mutants day off. How are you spending it? All at the mall, duh. Eavesdropping by the pool? None of your business, bub. A little joy flight around the skies. Relaxing in the garden, planning in solitude. Holed up in the library, whipping up snacks, share, or training in the danger room.
I'm gonna have to go with the mall, man.
Mr. Sinister is up to his usual tricks. What's your first move? Him again? Kill him, apprehend him.
This is probably gonna say a lot about me. I'd go straight for the kill.
Honestly, so would I, but you also do realize he is a geneticist and he likes to clone himself, so he will come back eventually.
He will, yeah.
It's Sinister. Can villains be reformed? Once a creep, always a creep. With a little convincing, perhaps. I'll believe it when I see it. Give him a chance. Who am I to judge? Define reformed. Every villainy has its reasonings. We all have a past. Absolutely not.
Give him a chance.
All right. Finally, what do you think of Professor X? He's like old. How long do you have? Good old Chuck. He tries his darndest. I'll reckon. I respect him, yet we do not see eye to eye. Ah, my old friend. Charles is a man with many virtues. Um, something I will just
I
say he
res-
lived the best life, or it's complicated.
I respect him, but we don't see eye to eye.
All right, let's see who you got. You got Wolverine again.
Oh, 2 for 2. All
That-
right.
And so the description. You think you're really tough, humbug? Well, as a matter of fact, you are. And we're not even talking about claws. You've been through more than most people will ever experience, yet you still find ways to remain loyal to those close to you. You're the best at what you do, and what you do is pretty impressive.
That's pretty fun. Now, if you get Magneto again, that's gonna be hilarious.
I'm gonna laugh, but or I'm gonna be even more happy if I get Gambit.
All right, let's go.
I'm waiting for it to load. All right. We will go red. Um, we'll go fear. I can dress myself. honestly, I think I would do better with history. Um, Probably whipping up some snacks.
Yeah, that sounds more like you.
Yeah, kill him. We all have a past, and we don't see eye to eye. Ha! I got Gambit.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
All right. So, what's another one of your cons that you wrote down?
So one of my cons, because the time to travel inconsistencies.
Yes.
Think about like, okay, so like you have, okay, like in Deadpool, you have it where his his device was only meant for time travel, and yet it sends Deadpool and Wolverine across the multiverse.
Yes.
Then you also have the time travel inconsistencies with what's his name? Bishop. He's part of the X-Men, but he's also not part of the X-Men, which okay, yeah, that's how time travel works, duh. But then you have it where you puppy.
Yep. Hey, everyone. This is Willow. This is my pup. This is my brother and I's pup.
But again, you have it where like Bishop, he's like stuck with the X-Men permanently, but then because he comes from a shit future, but then yet, oh look, he's not part of he's not part of it.
Yeah. The timeline is really messed up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Um, Another one that I actually mainly, the biggest one that one of my friends pointed out to me when we were talking was the too much focus on Wolverine.
Definitely. Uh,
But
when it comes to the movies, it feels like it's mainly on Wolverine. I would have loved to see now, like now when they did First Class and Apocalypse and Phoenix, it was focused on the younger X-Men. I liked that.
yes,
I liked that. It
I
had
agree.
Cyclops, it had Jean Grey, had Beast, had all of them growing up,
And
their
you basically grew up
backstories.
with them.
Yes. But say X1, 2, and 3 plus Days of Futures Past, that's mainly just Wolverine, another Wolverine movie, which I'm not upset about, but like we need more X-Men in the movie.
Which it's not just the movies though. Think about it like this. Okay, when I say mutants, okay, take Cyclops out, like just think focus, like really focus. When I say mutants, who's the first person that comes to your mind?
I mean, Wolverine.
Exactly.
I mean, Deadpool said it himself. You're the X-Men.
Which is
You're the X-Men.
which is not the best. It's not the best idea. Now, another one was, the overuse of, in my opinion, the overuse of the fear.
Yes. Yes.
Like, think about it. You have the X-Men afraid that they are going to be exterminated. They're going to be wiped out. That is mutants' fear. Then you have the human fear of they will not be involved. They have no connection. They will be the ones wiped out. Then you have the government's fear that, oh, like they were making the comment in X2, I believe it was, of oh no, it was X1. What if one of these guys was to come into the White House and try to kill the president?
Exactly.
That there's the government's fear.
I
The
mean, they
X-Men's
made the
fear is losing one of their teammates, losing themselves.
correct. I mean, they even said almost the same quote, just going off topic a little bit, but they said the same thing in Batman versus Superman. They're like, what if Superman decided to swoop down and just rip off the top of the White House and kill the president? It's
Exactly.
because he's an alien who they don't understand and that they're afraid of.
Exactly.
They don't take the opportunity to reach out because they don't want to look vulnerable by reaching out and
Exactly.
talking to them.
So some of the and another one is the overuse of plot. Like there's like one storyline, I don't remember what it is, but Wolverine gets doused in liquid adamantium where he's has his claws out and is getting doused and hardened and dies by suffocating. Sorry, I say it weirdly, but suffocating inside liquid adamantium.
X
Is
X2 when he's fighting Lady Deathstrike.
no, I'm talking about in the comics.
Oh.
He dies by getting suffocated in liquid adamantium where he dies and they built a shrine and built a memorial of him around his body. And then like 5 issues later, there's claw marks where it looks like somebody pried it open and walked right out of where he died. And Wolverine is just fine like the next day. Like 5 issues later, he's back alive. Even though that killed him.
Yes, but the heal factor.
But that's the thing. It because of it being adamantium and boiling hot, it disrupted his healing factor.
True.
It'd basically be like me walking up to you with point blank shooting you in the head with a gun, and you're dead, and then like 5 days later you call me up and be like, "Hey man, I know you killed me and all, but I'm still alive. You're not Jason. I'm sorry." Like, okay,
No.
there's the whole Bucky clause. I get it. Nobody can stay. Which, even then, I don't want to call it the Bucky clause anymore. I think we all should call it the Uncle Ben clause.
Yeah.
Because think about it like this, okay? In the original comics, the original reason they called it the Bucky clause is because okay, you have Jason Todd that died. Oh shit! Hold on, where am I? Okay, there I am. You have Jason Todd that died. Then you have Bucky Barnes that died, and you have Uncle Ben. No character can
Yes.
stay dead longer than 6 issues. The only ones that can remain when they die can remain dead is Bucky Barnes, Uncle Ben, and Jason Todd. But then yet
Yeah.
in 2006, 4 months apart, you have Bucky Barnes that came back to life and Jason Todd.
Correct.
Uncle Ben's the only one that has yet to be brought back to life.
I mean, we only see him in like flashbacks or dreams.
Exactly.
That is a little weird, yes.
All right. So we've covered powers, we've covered suits, we've covered pros and cons.
Well, we still have quite a bit of cons and pros that we can go through.
Where would you rank the movies? As
honestly, it depends.
top two.
So the movies, it would be more along the lines, would be like, hey, we got this aspect. So like the Logan movie, phenomenal movie, perfect movie. Then you
Yes.
got, but they're all supposed to be continuous and connected, but there's also many miscontinuities in there. Okay, like, okay, Sabretooth, he is supposed to be Logan's brother.
Correct.
But yet, in the very first X-Men, it's like they never even fucking met.
Well, true, but if you watch in Origins too, though, at the end of the movie, which was set before X1, he's shot in the head again with the adamantium bullet, which makes him
I'm not
forget
talking about
everything.
Logan. I'm not talking about Wolverine. I'm talking about Sabretooth. He acts like he's never met Wolverine.
Oh, okay. So it's not Wolverine not remembering him, it's Sabretooth not. Yes. True. I never did. Yeah. I never got that connection.
Not
Yeah.
just that. So the one person I want to see them introduce is Dog Logan, which okay, technically they did, which is Sabretooth, but actually in the comics, Dog Logan is a completely separate character. His name is Douglas Logan, and he is the brother of Wolverine. But they had him mixed with Sabretooth for Origins.
Correct.
I want to see him in live action.
And we might see him in Secret Wars.
Hopefully. But no, like one of the biggest like pros that I've had, because like I said, I have quite a few of pros and cons, is you know, like said, the disregard of backstory, which was a con, but actual icon and besides iconic villains, but is female icons. You don't see that a lot. Let's be honest. When I say female icon in comics, the first person comes to your head is who?
Wonder Woman.
Exactly. Because why she's the very first.
Or, well, Wonder Woman and Supergirl.
Exactly. Because technically they both were the very first.
Yeah.
Now in Marvel, who's the first one that comes to your head?
Black Widow.
Okay, but that's due to the movies. Let's be honest, Black Widow was originally a villain.
True, she was. She was an assassin. Yeah.
So when I say it, I'm always thinking Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Black Canary.
Captain Marvel.
I can't. But for Marvel, I can't think of any. But now if you're like, okay, I can't. Now if you were to go like, hey man, like very first iconic woman in Marvel, who could you think of? Okay, besides the
Captain
movie,
Marvel.
yeah, or Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. I would say Rogue, Miss Psylocke, you know, because Jean Grey,
The
Jubilee,
Wasp.
the Wasp, because they are the major focus.
Yes. If you could meet any cast member from the X-Men movies, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably Hugh, obviously, because he's more iconic.
Correct.
But I would also like to meet Tyler Kirsch, who played Gambit, because I think he did Liv Schreiber. So just those three from Origins. And then I would have Alan Cumming from X2, James Marsden, Halle Berry, probably, even though I've heard from multiple sources that she's kind of a, what?
Mm-hmm.
I would also like to meet what's his name? James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender. So I'd rank the movies as a good pinnacle point for, history wise. I think they did such a good job on introducing the X-Men into, modern day. But again, like I think there's certain aspects where they could have done a little bit better. But again, I think that if it wasn't for the X-Men, or like not it's not just the X-Men. If it wasn't for, the Fantastic Four or,
Blade.
Blade, best example so far. If it wasn't for Blade, the Fantastic Four,
Toby
X-Men,
Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, we wouldn't have the MCU or, the DC universe or hell, the boys if it wasn't for them.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Fox universe just it opened the whole superhero community as a whole.
Oh yeah. And so honestly, I think they did such a phenomenal job with it. Like hell, even they got the historical relevance and significance in it. Like prime example, in first Days of Future Past, they made it where the only reason um it happened like at all why Magneto got arrested is he killed the president, which is historical relevance because why? Where am I? Okay. Sorry about that. But no, historical relevance because again, Magneto apparently killed the president, which is JFK. And there's a theory going around that there's the magic bullet theory where it went in the back of the head, went straight out, turned back around, went back into his head, and blew his head up. That's why his head exploded instead of the pressure, which is cool. But the funny thing, I have a meme that I saw, like which I find funny, and I tell it as many times as I can to my friends. I don't know if I've told you this one, but okay, if the X-Men universe and the MCU were in the same universe, let's just say hypothetically they were, for Days of Future Past, Magneto lost to a guy with a metal arm.
Technically, yes, he did.
Yeah, he lost to Bucky. Bucky had a metal arm. So Magneto's power is worthless. He ain't that good. Freaking
All
failed.
right.
But not
Which
just that.
version of Days of Futures Past have you watched?
I've seen both.
So you saw the Rogue cut?
Yes.
How much of a difference is it between each movie?
It's a significant amount because like after Wolverine injured Kitty, instead of having Bobby, heal her, like ice up her wound to keep her going, they actually have it where Charles stays put, but it's Magneto and Bobby that break into a area where Rogue's at. Break Rogue out, and then Rogue takes over for Kitty by sending Logan back.
Yes.
But so like one of the other a few other pros is the empowering the differences that of one another. Like prime example, Wolverine's a 200 plus old man, and yet he's still empowering people of our generation and our day. Like think about it like this: they empowered people like when our parents were growing up. They empowered, us. Then what's next? They're gonna empower. Let's be honest. They're gonna empower our kids.
Definitely.
They're always gonna empower people, and they have such memorable storylines about it. Like Days of Future Past is a very memorable storyline. House of M, Old Man Logan. Then the evolution adaptation, where they're always evolving into more. And
I
so,
definitely agree.
like, then you also have, like a few more of these is more like the academic analysis. Like, as a film major, I've sat down with my film teacher, and me and him just sat there and watched the movie. Like, I was bored one day. I hopped on Disney Plus and decided to watch the freaking movies. And my teacher was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "He's like, why aren't you working?" I was like, "Because there's nothing for me to do. Because we're done editing, we're done filming, like we're done with everything. We're just waiting to turn it in." He's like, "Okay." Well, he's like, "So what are you doing? Why don't you think about your next project?" I was like, "Okay, I can do that, but can I finish this first?" He's like, "Sure, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm watching a bit of a movie." He's like, "What movie?" I was like, "X-Men 2." He's like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so he literally sat down right next to me and watched it, and he made me stop it and put it up on the big board where the entire film class would sit down and watch it, and we just sat there throughout for the past week, sitting there watching the movie and analyzing and pointing out all the different aspects of the movie. And then like we'd also and then like I was basically the teacher explaining how it went down, and then the difference between the analysis from that and the comics, but analyzing how academically challenging it is and how hard it is for certain things to become live action adaptations from comics, from books, or just, just the perfect adaptation is hard. But X-Men did it so well. And then they also have the academic aspect where they showed how schooling is really difficult in the X-Men film as teachers, and showed how much credit that we should give to our teachers.
I definitely 100% agree with that.
So then you also have it's a timeless appeal. Like I said, everybody's going to enjoy it. And like I said yesterday, it's always inspiring fans and inspiring people. And then they have the perfect reputation and representation by Marvel. Like, let's be honest, okay? When I tell, like, if you could think of anything between Marvel and DC, okay, the first thing that comes to your head is Justice League or Avengers usually. But then when I say outsiders, your first thought is Teen Titans and X-Men or Inhumans.
Yeah.
Nobody
Or
ever really thinks of the
Fantastic
Doom
Four.
Patrol.
No, like Doom Patrol is like no one's really heard of the Doom Patrol.
Exactly, but yet Stanley even admitted he took the idea of X-Men off of the Doom Patrol because he was a
Really?
fan of the Doom. Yes, he was a fan of the Doom Patrol comics, and he was like, "Huh, I wonder if I can make my own adaptation of this, but make it a little more interesting and make it where they're truly outsiders." Like, okay, yeah, think about it. I'm walking around with a guy who is a robot. Like your brain is inside of a robot. Let's be honest. How freaked out is anybody really gonna be? Nobody's gonna
Yeah,
be really freaked out. They're gonna think that's cool.
for the most part, yeah.
Cause dude, like, let's be honest, all I would have to say is like all me and you'd have to say is, oh look, this is just a cosplay.
Pretty much.
When even though in reality that is your body.
So is Beast Boy transfer? Is that Beast?
So
Is Beast Boy from? Because Beast
honestly,
Boy
the
originally.
only similarities I see in it, besides them both being they're both being having rich white old men, have a giant ass mansion with a school built inside, is more along the lines of the main mentor is in a wheelchair.
Yeah, because most people know Beast Boy from Titans, but he actually originated first from the Doom Patrol.
Exactly.
But he left that team to join the Titans.
Exactly.
Most people, I bet half the people who are going to watch this don't even know that.
Exactly. Like,
Cyborg would with his lasers and computer stuff, that's going to be Cyclops.
but remember, he wasn't. But that's just the show because even in the comics, Cyborg originally started out in Teen Titans. Like he was just an ordinary high school kid who became a got cybernetically enhanced because he fucked over his father in the lab.
Yeah.
So basically, if you want to compare Cyborg to anybody, like in like comics wise, even though it's considered manga, Astro Boy is Cyborg.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
But again, they have extensional and perfect adaptations and they have all different abilities. Let's be honest. Name one character besides Jean Grey, Psylocke, or Charles Xavier that has the power for telepathy or anything to do with the mind.
Other than Raven.
Well, again, Raven is more of magic than it is, hey, I'm reading your mind.
Yeah.
You can't
True.
think of one. Name one
No.
other person besides Wolverine and X-23 that actually have, the claws that are coming out of their arms.
Lady Deathstrike.
Well, like she's cybernetically enhanced.
True. And then, like you said, well, even that's Yeah, you're right. Because that's just bone too.
Exactly. Like I
Yeah.
said, they like okay, yeah, they empower the difference of like different powers. Like, okay, if I say shape shifting, I can name at least like 5 people.
Yeah.
Then if I were to tell you, okay, heat vision, okay, like Cyclops' vision, you can name at least a couple.
Superman,
Superman, Cyclops, Superboy.
Homelander,
Exactly. Now, when I say
Bizarro.
super speed, you can name a dozen.
Yes.
But now if I say
Quicksilver, Flash, Reverse Flash.
A
Yeah.
Train,
A Train.
again, there's so many, but yet again, the the X-Men have had it where all the powers, they're all mix and match, and half of them didn't even weren't even as popular or weren't even notable famous until the X-Men.
Right.
Let's be honest, if I say besides Deadpool and Wolverine and X-23, obviously, name one person with a healing factor besides Lady Deathstrike and the other ones I mentioned. In DC Comics only.
In DC Comics?
Yes.
I mean, with the Flash's mobility, he has the ability to heal fast.
But that's due to his super speed.
Correct.
I'm just talking about just pure healing factor.
Superman in the Sun?
No, because again, he's an alien. There's only one person that has somewhat similar healing factor, but it's not. But he still gets scarred up. He doesn't heal up like nothing ever happened,
And
and
who's
that's
that?
Deathstroke.
That's true. Yeah. That's a good one.
Basically, imagine Deadpool if Wade Wilson had the super soldier serum, and then oh look, he instead of becoming like Deadpool, how he is, he's
Yeah.
Captain America. Oh look, he gets cut. Oh crap. Oh look, it heals up. But guess what? He is still scarred. Like he still has the
Hmm.
scar on his arm. Because let's be honest, you gouge out Deadpool's eye, what happens? Oh look, his eye grows back.
Yeah, it grows back.
Okay, you cut Wolverine's face. Oh look, his skin grows back. There's no scar. Same thing with Lady Deathstroke. Same thing with X-23. Now look at Deathstroke. He gouged out his own eye. That has not grown back. That is still a
True.
scar. But yet he is still
Yeah.
he wears the eye patch because scary. But he has healed from it. He doesn't really need the eye patch.
Exactly.
But again, but like so like some more of the cons that I had, you know, is like, which I don't know if you'd agree with me, but the lack of the overuse of resurrection. But that's just with
Yes.
every comic ever. But the X-Men did it a lot more. Because again, now they have it where every mutant on Genosha can never die.
Yes. Which I find I find a little annoying.
Exactly.
It takes some of the story arc away from it.
Exactly.
Like every hero wants to, when they die, they want to go out in a blaze of glory.
Exactly. That's
But
actually my next one, which you kind of started going on about it. Lack of character development.
yes,
The lack of the character development is such a big issue. Like think about it like this. Okay, in Logan or not Logan, Dead or Wolverine Origins, X-Men Origins Wolverine. You have it where Wolverine went from is a sick kid, kills his family, like kills his brother, or not kills his brother, kills his dad, kills his actual dad, and again, he went from like there. Okay, no, prime example, like you said, Well, what storyline was it that we were talking about yesterday? Where Cyclops was Phoenix.
Oh, X-Men versus Avengers.
Thank you.
After Cyclops killed half his team, 5 pieces of the Phoenix Force were divided between 5 people, becoming the Phoenix Five. But after the Phoenix Five betrayed Cyclops, he killed all of them until it came down between him and Emma Frost. And after he killed Emma Frost, he obtained the full Phoenix Force and ended up killing Charles Xavier.
See, exactly. He worked so hard to becoming the best leader, becoming the best, working to become a better man than his own father, a better man than his own brothers, a better man than he thought possible. But yet, again, you have it where he goes off and kills Charles.
Yes.
What happened to the character development? Wolverine, they don't ever follow hit. And another part of it is lack of following the character's backstory. Again, Wolverine doesn't know his past, and yet in one issue, he knows everything about his past. He remembers marrying Yukio, having her die, him going after people to kill them. And then, oh look, he like the X-Men movies make a prime example of it. He has no recollection of his past, and then out of the blue, he starts getting glimpses here and there of his past. Like, okay, yeah, seeing Stryker might, spark some memories of it. But again, it's not logical because, again, like, why focus on that?
Exactly. And the other thing that kind of drove me crazy, but it was in the comics too, so not just the movies, but the love triangle between Cyclops, Jean, and Wolverine.
Yes, I agree.
Honestly, I feel like Wolverine was in the wrong on that end, honestly, because Jean and Scott were literally the second class. They were the second.
Well, that they
'Cause
were
first
second class
class-
for the movies. They were first class in the comics.
the comics. But yeah, but they grew up together. They were training together. They'd known each
They've
other for
always been there
years.
together.
And then all of a sudden this guy just breaks in and say, "Oh, I like this girl. I'm just gonna
She's mine
mess
now."
with her mind. She's mine now."
Which, okay, I found that I agree with you. I didn't like that, but then eventually I read it in a comic and I found out. Turns out Logan is in a polyamorous relationship with Scott and Jean.
Yes, I don't count that comic. I don't like that.
Well, that's the thing. They've made that canon from now on.
Really?
Yep.
I'm not gonna believe that.
Well, like I can see Logan being more bisexual because he's actually slept with certain men. He slept with Gambit after all.
That's fair enough.
But the one I want to see them do a live action movie with, but they have to get permission from James Gunn. Have it where they have Gambit and Wolverine show up in the DC universe and steal the Batmobile.
Have they done that in the comics?
Yes. Like, give me a minute.
That'd be freaking awesome.
Like, I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I was looking up something for Robin. Now, let me move this. So, like, they were literally talking to Nightwing and Batman, and literally Wolverine just shows up stealing the freaking Batmobile.
That's just insane.
And it was in DC versus Marvel.
All right, so also that goes on a different tangent then. what did you feel about the amalgamated comics when they combined Wolverine and Batman together, making Dark Claw?
That was an interesting take.
It was kind of badass, but it was kind of weird at the same time.
Yeah,
If you can throw a picture up on the screen, just let
I
our
will.
viewers know what Dark Claw looks like. It was a 1998 run, I believe, where they combined DC and Marvel characters together. They had Spider-Boy, which
Oh,
is
okay.
Captain America. I mean, Spider-Man and Superman. They had
Spider-Man, Spider-Man and Superboy. But so I looked
Yeah,
it up just to see who Gambit got paired with, and so he got paired with Obsidian. You know, the original Green Lantern's kid.
yeah.
This is his kid. This is Wraith. Gambit with that. So we have this.
Yeah, they had Captain America and Superman combined.
Yep. Give me a moment. My thing is slow as shit.
But Dark Claw is what we're wanting to focus on right now. If you can find a picture of that.
Oh, I can. This is Dark Claw, guys.
It is a combination of both Batman and Wolverine.
Here, let's read his thing from the fandom. Okay. Dark Claw is is an amalgamation of Marvel, who's Wolverine, and DC's Batman. At the age of 5, witnessing his parents' murder the hands of an armed robber, Logan Wayne is sent to live with his uncle in Alberta, Canada, where his uncle is a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and was ambushed and murdered by poachers a short time after his arrival in Canada. The death of his uncle, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, sent Logan to live in a home run by nuns. As soon as he was old enough, he enlisted in the Royal Canadian Air Force, landing in the same outfit as Creed H. Quinn, which is a combination, I believe, of Joker and Sabretooth. We'll look him up right now. H. Quinn. Yep. Sabretooth and Joker. I don't like that
Not
one.
that one was a little bit of a stretch.
But both
Yeah.
Logan and Creed were submitted to the Weapon X project by the project, the Canadian Super Soldier Program. It was here that Logan had adamantium bonded to his bones and learned that his meta mutant nature throughout the course of the project, and the other subject, Quinn, had become increasingly insane and would later become Darklaw's most dangerous foe, the Hyena.
Correct.
The Weapon X project was terminated due to its dual failure. Logan was ineffective as a weapon because he possessed a consciousness, and Creed was criminally insane. The files were deleted, and the existence of the program was utterly expunged, with the exception of a few fragments of notes by Professor Carter Nicholas, later uncovered by Miss Huntress.
Amalgamated Comics, everybody.
Yeah, it gets weird.
If you guys have time, go and look at it yourselves. It was actually a pretty cool run. But before any of these combined heroes were put together, there was a Marvel versus DC run of 6 issues where the heroes from each universe fought each other for the survival of their said universes.
Yes, DC versus Marvel, which is funny because that's actually where this is the storyline where Gambit and Wolverine stole the Batmobile.
Yes. For most people who don't know this, there was a small run where DC and Marvel had team ups also. So there is
Yep.
one where Spider-Man and Batman team up, where Batman fights Carnage and Spider-Man fights the Joker.
There was also one where Captain America and Batman teamed up with Bucky and Robin, and they took out. They were
Red
going
Skull and
after
Joker.
Joker and Red Skull, and well, let's just say Joker knocked the hell out of Red Skull when he found out he was a Nazi, and as he said it word for word, "I may be a lunatic, but at least I'm an American lunatic."
Bum bum bum. All right, guys. I think that's going to be about all that we have for you on the subjects. If there's anything else you guys want to ask us, ask it down in the comments.
Yes, exactly. But so before we go, okay, before we finish and everything, like I said, there was a certain just like 3, 4 more things that I wanted to say of my cons real quick, and I wanted to hear your opinion on them.
Okay.
The lack of closure in the comics and the movies for the X-Men characters,
Anyone in particular?
just in general, like lack of closure for Wolverine's story, the lack of closure for Scott's, hell, the lack of closure for
True.
Gambit.
I mean, why do you think that they brought him back at the end of Days of Futures Past? It's because Logan changed the timeline, so he didn't actually die by the hands of Jean Grey, but we
But I'm
never
just
really
saying in
hear
general,
anything.
there's so much lack of closure. Like, okay, think about like we had closure with the Logan movie, but then they kind of basically said screw it and brought him back for Deadpool and Wolverine. Which don't get me wrong, I love the movie. It was a great movie, but it
But
also
it made his death like not. It wasn't as
Exi-
important as it used to be.
exactly.
Wasn't it?
And like this is part of it. Like the right and the reason it's lack of character growth or and lack of closure is because they're always retconning. Like okay, like I said, in the originals, growing up for my dad, Mystique was Kurt's mom. If you guys don't know who Kurt is, he is Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler. And the dad was either Azazel or, Magneto. Like, there's so many different. Same thing with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. They originally stated that the dad was the Wizard. Then they retconned it again and said, oh, look, it is now
Magneto.
it's Magneto. Now you don't, but then in the movie, it's some random guy. Like, okay, in the movie, they could have been adopted, but yeah, again, it's lack of, they keep retconning and lack of it. And the continuity issues. Another one is overuse of certain villains, like they're always using Mr. Sinister or Magneto. Give Apocalypse his own time to shine. Make it where you focus more on Sabretooth. Focus on
I really
Mystique.
feel like Sabretooth really hasn't gotten his due, honestly.
No, he hasn't. And then you have the lack of emotional depth in it, you know, because okay, yeah, like Logan's death in the movie was so emotional, but then oh look, like I said, they throw it out the window and there goes your emotion. It's like, oh, okay. The same thing with
Yeah.
disregarding the real world repercussions. Okay, let's be honest. Wolverine's killed a lot of people. He should be having several life sentences. Okay, yeah, I get it's a comic. I get it's a movie. But they're acting like there's no like same thing with the Power Rangers. Okay, think about it logically. The Power Rangers go into Megazord mode. They said it perfectly in the Transformers movie. I don't remember which one. The Transformers do a lot of destruction. Who cleans up their mess? Who do they send the bill to?
I mean, that's exactly what the Sokovia Accords were made for. Was because
Exactly.
of what the Avengers did.
Who pays their bills? Who pays for it all? I know Tony could obviously pay it all, but again, Tony's not going to.
No, he doesn't give
then-
two craps about it.
Exactly. But now the major one, the massive one, the unintentional promotion of race improvements, meaning they're always throwing race or of them being mutants, throwing that in your face. Like
Yes.
it's they don't intentionally do it, but they do it so often it's kind of ruins the story. Like there's times where okay, like now if they're saving a young, like I was just watching this thing where this video today where this kid knew what he was doing and he touched Rogue's hand and he was a young mutant dying of cancer. Logan made the doctor call his parents to tell his parents because the doctor didn't know. And the kid already did. And he touched Rogue's hand without Rogue even knowing, and he killed his own self. But again, you have it where you have like I said, you have that kid kill himself, and yet with like doing certain things like that, knowing the kid's a mutant, okay, that's fine. But then you have the aspects of okay, look, they're going to Genosha, they're stopping things, and then they're going back to New York or they're going back somewhere, or they're traveling to Antarctica to find more about Wolverine's past, and you get thrown in the face of oh look, Wolverine's been a mutant for 200 plus years. It's like okay, it's like oh yeah, and Rogue has the ability that she can absorb powers. It's like thanks. Like I already knew that. Like now, if new readers didn't know that, okay, fine. But then but sometimes it's like you said, the issue series, like the X-Men versus Avengers. You knew they from issue 1 they were mutants, all the way down to the final issue. But in each issue, they throw it in your face that they're mutants. They're the mutants. They are in the Avengers' eyes, they are the bad guys. This is their mutant ability. It's like, no, like knock that off.
Agreed.
Now, if you were to do it on occasion, be like, okay, hey, one issue where you explain that these are the mutants, they are mutants, this is what's going on. Okay. And then continue on. Okay, fine. But that's my only issue with it.
I agree 100%.
But honestly, I've had a blast talking about this. I think you did too.
Me too, yeah.
But
when I met the voice actor who played Wolverine in X-Men 97 and he signed my comic book, it was just one of the best experiences I've ever had.
oh, I bet.
A
But
big shout out to him and his team when they make season 2.
yes, huge shout out. Like hopefully we get on there. Hopefully we get them on the podcast someday.
If we can get them on the podcast, that'd be amazing.
It would be amazing. But honestly, like Drew said, guys, if you have any more questions, me and Drew are willing to answer. Please leave them down in the comments. Please follow us on our Instagram and our personal pages. Our Instagram is the Nerdvolution Podcast, all one word. We can go if you have us. If you want to message us on there to ask questions, if you want to go on there and see who else we've had on, or go on there and be like, hey, could you try to get this person or do a topic on this? Let us know in the comments. Let us know by messaging us. Follow our personal ones. Mine is Lancaster.Todd. Drew, what is yours?
Star City Cosplay.
All right.
We
And-
also are on TikTok.
Yes, we are also on TikTok. it is Nerdvolution Podcast again, just on TikTok. Follow us on there, and we would love to see you guys more. Maybe one of these days we will do a live video to, once we get to, Drew, what would you say? Because we're at 25 subscribers right now. What would you say? What number?
Let's say we get to 100 subscribers.
All right, once we get to 100 subscribers, we will do a live video with all our subscribers, and we'll even try to get Jackson on that.
That sounds great to me.
All right. The only other thing I can think of, honestly, I can't think of anything.
I think I'm all out of questions too.
All right. Well, this has been fun. And just remember, guys, always nerd out and subscribe.